Today I've decided to find out who makes the best chocolate mousse out of the cookbook authors I have. First, I went through my library and picked a few books with classic mousse recipes. We've got Larousse Desserts, Essential Pépin, Julia Child, Chez Panisse, Yann Couvreur, and Bouchon from Thomas Keller. Being a true nerd, I compiled all those recipes in a spreadsheet to calculate the percentage of each ingredient and see how similar they really are. Turns out, Chez Panisse was fairly close to Keller, and Larousse was similar to Yann. So I shortlisted Pépin, Yann, Bouchon, and Julia Child. They each have a slightly different ingredient list, so I was curious to see how that would affect the mousse texture. And after this whole long selection process, and after I already filmed it, I realized there was someone else on YouTube who already compared some of these recipes. Oh well. I promise I did not copy the idea. I grabbed 4 types of chocolate that I had at home. 46% milk chocolate, 54.5 dark semi-sweet, 64 dark, and a 70% dark. They look a bit rough because the chocolate partially melted when I was moving to this place, but as you'll see, it makes no difference to the end result. You can melt and temper chocolate as many times as you want. The first recipe we're making is from Pépin. I recalculated all the recipes to use around 100-150 grams of chocolate with everything else adjusted proportionally. Here I'm taking 25 grams of sugar, 2 egg yolks or 35 grams, 160 grams of whipping cream, 100 grams of chocolate. Because the recipe doesn't specify which chocolate to use, I'm just going with a half and half mix of the 54.5% and the 70%. And a teaspoon of cognac, or 5 grams. To start, I'm whipping the egg yolks with sugar over a water bath until they're light and foamy. Then I melt the chocolate, and then I whip the cream to soft peaks. You don't want it stiff because you will lose volume. Now I'm adding the cognac to the egg yolks, mix it, and then fold the chocolate into this mix. Just make sure to check that the chocolate mixture is around 30 to 32 C degrees. If it's warmer, it can melt your cream, so let it cool down. If it's cooler, you will need to work fast or your mousse will start to set quite quickly. Fold in some of the cream first to lighten the mixture and then combine everything together. We're aiming for an even brown color without white lines. Just be careful not to lose a lot of air during this process. Pour into a glass or a bowl, then cover with cling film and let it set in the fridge overnight. Next in line is Yann Couvreur. For his recipe, we need 35 grams of sugar, 1 egg yolk or 17 grams, 2.5 egg whites or 85 grams, 110 grams of whipping cream, 95 grams of 64% dark chocolate, and 60 grams of 46% milk chocolate. And he is very specific about the chocolate types, so I actually had them both at home, so the result should be very close to what he intended. Now, I'm melting both chocolates, then I'm boiling the cream and emulsifying them together with a hand blender. Once the chocolate mixture drops below about 50 C in temperature, add the egg yolks and blend again. You can do this by hand, but the result might not be as smooth. Next, whip the egg whites with the sugar to medium peaks. Just make sure not to go too far or the mousse will end up grainy because stiff egg whites are really difficult to fold in evenly. And then fold about 1/4 to 1/3 of the whites into the chocolate to lighten it up first. After it's done, gently incorporate the rest. This is the big difference from Pépin's version, this addition of whipped egg whites. I think it will definitely affect the texture. Also, as you noticed, we used a portion of egg whites first because we want to use that lighter component to bring the textures closer together before we combine in everything. Once the mixture is an even brown with no streaks, pour it into a glass or a bowl and chill overnight. Recipe number 3 is from Thomas Keller, Bouchon. Here we need 2 teaspoons of sugar or 5 grams, which is remarkably low considering we're using semi-sweet dark chocolate, 2 egg yolks or 35 grams, 2 egg whites or 70 grams, 175 grams of whipping cream, 100 grams of 64% chocolate, 25 grams of unsalted butter, and 20 grams of freshly brewed espresso. Now here we're introducing coffee, which is said to deepen chocolate flavor in desserts, and also add in butter for this extra richness. The process is very similar again. Melt the chocolate with butter over a water bath or in the microwave, then add the espresso and stir until the texture is more or less even. Take it off the heat if using the water bath, and then add the egg yolks, mix until smooth and shiny, which might take a bit of effort to get proper emulsion. Whip the cream to soft peaks and keep it in the fridge until you need it. Then whip the egg whites. Just remember to wash your whisks properly after whipping the cream, because any trace of fat will stop them from whipping. And now take your 3 components to make the mousse. We have egg whites, cold cream, and the warm-ish chocolate mixture, which, as you'll remember, should be around 30 to 32 C. Fold some cream into the chocolate first to lighten it. Then fold in half the egg whites, then more egg whites, and finish with the remaining cream. Fold until it's an even brown throughout. Pour into a glass or a bowl and chill overnight. And our last recipe of the day is from Julia Child. It is the most complex one in terms of added flavors. You'll see that not only we have coffee and butter again, but Julia also asks for some liquor. We need 80 grams of sugar, 2 egg yolks or 35 grams, 2 egg whites or 70 grams, 90 grams of semi-sweet chocolate. I'm using a half and half split of the 54.5% and 70% chocolates, 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of cognac, 90 grams of butter, 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of espresso. Now, the process is again almost the same. Whisk the egg yolks and half the sugar over a double boiler or water bath. Then add the cognac. When it's foamy and thick, take it off the heat. Melt the chocolate and butter in the microwave. Mix them together in a large bowl. Fold in the egg yolks and stir until smooth and glossy. Finally, add the espresso. Then whip the egg whites with the remaining sugar to medium peaks and gently fold them into the chocolate mixture. Pour into a glass or a bowl and refrigerate overnight. Now, after all that work, it's finally time to taste. First, Jacques Pépin. This mousse has very smooth texture, it's well balanced, and I can definitely taste the cognac. The chocolate flavor is very strong, though that obviously depends on the chocolate you use. Next is Yann Couvreur. This is a very airy mousse because of the whipped egg whites, and the mouthfeel is completely different. It's very smooth, well balanced, and slightly sweeter and creamier than Pépin's. I guess partly thanks to the milk chocolate. I actually really like this one. It reminds me of those airy chocolate bars, but the luxury version. Next, Bouchon. For some reason, this one didn't set as well as the others. It's still very soft, almost like that budino dessert that I made in another video. It's also barely sweet and has a very strong coffee flavor. Again, you can change that with your choice of chocolate, but be careful with lowering the cocoa butter content because it was already quite soft. Probably adding some sugar is a better option. And finally, Julia Child. It has pretty good texture. It's not too stiff or dry, it holds its shape really well, but at the same time, it's very aerated. Probably even more airy than Yann's version. You can taste the bitterness of the chocolate, but for my personal taste, it's a bit too sweet. I think this one really wanted 70% chocolate. And finally, the verdict. Overall, the winner for my personal taste is Yann Couvreur. It's super airy, not too sweet, and it's very creamy. Pépin comes as a close second, and Bouchon and Julia share in the bronze. That said, all 4 were genuinely great. The choice really comes down to your preferences. Darker chocolate versus more sweetness, simple versus layered flavors. I'd honestly recommend trying all of them and deciding on your own winner. I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you next time.